Good evening, everyone. We begin tonight with a change at the top at Target, the nation's #3 retailer. Greg Steinhoffel, the company's chairman and CEO, stepped down today, 5 months after a massive data breach that put at risk personal and financial information belonging to millions of customers. The resignation is effective immediately. Steinhoffel had been with Target 35 years and is arguably the first major company CEO to lose his job to a cybercrime. The news rattled investors. Target shares fell 3.5%, one of the biggest decliners in the S&P 500. So what's next for Target? And will a change in the corner office restore trust in the company after it puts so many customers at risk? Courtney Reagan has more on today's ouster and the battered chain's search for a new leader.
As time goes on, we are going to get down to the bottom of this. We are not going to rest until we understand what happened and how that happened. Clearly, we're accountable and we're responsible, but we're going to come out at the end of this a better company, and we're going to make significant changes.
That's what Target CEO Greg Steinhoffel said in January about the holiday data breach, perhaps foreshadowing his own firing. In a note to the company's board, Steinhoffel says the last several months have tested Target in unprecedented ways. With several key milestones behind us, now is the right time for new leadership at Target. Target CFO John Mulligan is stepping up as interim CEO, while the retailer and search firm Korn Ferry undergo a search for a permanent chief executive. Steinhoffel's departure itself wasn't entirely unexpected, though the timing took analysts by surprise. While the holiday season's data breach has been a huge black eye for Target, the retailer's last earnings release and subsequent updates suggested it was mostly in the rearview mirror, hinting the reasons behind the CEO's firing go beyond the data breach. Target's expansion into Canada has been quite disappointing. Sales and traffic have weakened, and the company was late to the e-commerce game, likely costing it valuable market share.
Could be just one too many straws, but still the abruptness makes it seem like either something really devastating happened in an interchange on the board, or there's some catastrophic information, and that's we see in the stock drop on this news rather than the sort of pop we'll often see. Target
has a history of promoting CEOs from within company ranks, but Wall Street thinks it has to be an outsider with a fresh perspective that takes over. Though the big question is, who? There aren't a lot of strong retail CEO candidates available, a problem for a retailer in need of a leader. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Courtney Reagan.
The Target management shakeup raises the question, how vulnerable are CEOs when things go wrong? Davia Temin advises companies in crisis. She's CEO of a New York crisis management firm, Temin & Company. So, Davia, is Target's CEO really responsible for this data breach? I mean, some people would say that, it was an accident and he shouldn't be held responsible as CEO.
Well, Susie, I think that we now know that data breaches are going to happen all the time. They have happened all the time, and they probably will continue to. I think the thing that's at issue here is how quickly he responded and what that response looked like as soon as they knew about it. And that was way too long. It took too long to let people know. So I actually think that the issue is not a data breach, but a breach of trust.
Davia, I don't mean to strain the parallels too much, but why does Mr. Steinhoffel lose his job as a victim, potentially largely of a cybercrime, and Jamie Dimon get to keep his when that company has paid billions, tens of billions in settlements, fines, and other judgments?
Well, Tyler, so I don't work with either of these two firms, but I can tell you that it must have to do with the internal equity that they both have built up and in the internal ways that they have dealt with this, not only the external ways they've dealt with it. But I will say that I think Diamond actually fessed up, came forward, started some solutions with far more alacrity than Steinhoffel did. And that's the real issue, is how quickly in this transparent age can you step up to it?
Right. So, Davia, where do CEOs get training for this, kind of stuff? I mean, who's a role model CEO who's done it right?
You know, there really aren't that many people who have done it completely right, Susie, because the situation is changing even as we're sitting here. The news moves at the speed of an electron, as you guys know, and it takes on more and more power as it goes over social media. So I think everybody is running to catch up. I actually think that Mary Barra, as a brand new CEO, has been doing quite well in how she's been stepping up to something that was not done on her watch. She was lucky that it wasn't done on her watch, but therefore she can be part of the solution. For the current Target CEO, it was done on his watch, so it's harder for him to be part of the solution.
Yeah, it took them 5 or 10 days to really come to grips with what was going on, it seems to me. Your argument here, Davia, is that in the era of social media, executives do not have several days. They may not even have several hours to fess up to a problem.
That's exactly right. You know, usually they say that Tylenol was the best case for crisis management. If that were done today, it would be a dismal failure because they waited 5 full days. Today, I think you have to say something within an hour. Now, you can't say that you know everything, but you can say, this is what we know. We will keep you updated. We will keep you safe to the best of our ability, and we are on it.
Right. Davia, we have half a minute, so real quick answer to this. If you were advising Target now on who they should be recruiting for this new job, what would you tell the board?
A grand communicator who can build trust.
Well, that was a short answer. Okay, we'll take that.
You got another 20 seconds, Davia.
Oh, boy. And knows tech, too. How about that?
Okay, great.
Okay.
Davia, thanks so much. Davia Temin with Temin & Company.